of civilization, the civilization known as the Minoans. And we're going to talk about that, what that civilization was like, maybe what happened to them, and what we did gain or learn from that civilization. The other question becomes is, could this be the lost city of Atlantis? Is this where the story comes from? Because very much so what happened on Santorini was there was a active village of the Minoans, a very advanced society for its time, one of the most advanced societies at that time, it's believed, one of the original cradles of civilization today, there on Crete. So is this the story that Plato does know about, that he has talked about as Atlantis, or is Atlantis just mythology? So we'll investigate that a little bit today and see if we can have some fun with that. So this explosion, or the volcanic eruption itself, was the largest in known human history. And what I mean by that is that there were larger explosions prior to man being on the planet. But this was the largest volcanic eruption known since man has been on the planet. So imagine the size. It would have been some 10 times the size of Mount St. Helens, or 10 times the size even of Vesuvius, which was just outside of Naples, which we'll learn about in a future talk. So these circles, they represent the 10-time-fold growth. So just imagine on how big that eruption would have been compared to what we're familiar with, such as Mount St. Helens. Because there's St. Helens at just under 5, and there's Santorini at a 6. And that's a 10-fold increase by number, much like on the earthquake scale. What you see there in the center, this is what's called the caldera, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But what you see here in the center is the growth of the new volcano, the new dome. So it is still an active volcano, and from Santorini you'll be able to visit it if you wish to. And I think occasionally there is steam that's visible above the volcano. So caldera, that comes from the word cauldron. And that's what it's describing here. So this is an enormous caldera. It's the largest one that we're aware of recent explosions. And you can imagine that the total area that that volcano would have taken up would have been a large mountain filling that entire space. So when this eruption happened, imagine how much volume of material was thrown into the atmosphere, and then how the caldera or the mantle then collapsed back into the sea. Again, bringing up questions of, could that be Atlantis? So I talked about the new dome there that's forming. So coming back to Atlantis, so Plato's original story was in 360 BC, and is it real or was it parable? Now we know that Plato often made up parables to try and help and teach society to have good morals, and he did that through story.